Welcome back to Curse, Code, and Crown, a live play Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition podcast featuring a fully original world and campaign. I am the wizard Cronox, observer of time. Curse, Code, and Crown features our regular voiceover artists and improvisers, Laura Elizabeth as the Orc Count Eta and Princess Gwendolyn, Tyler Hewitt as Makka Deathcap, and Ryan LaPlante as Duncan Danno, alongside our dungeon master, the incredible Tom McGee. So get ready for an adventure including thrills, chills, and hope for a brighter tomorrow. It's time for Curse, Code, and Crown!
Gwendolyn, Doc Malvern throws back the entire concoction while keeping his eyes squarely on yours. What do you do?
Bleep? Bleep? And I think I get behind Doc Malvern and basically try to do the Heimlich to make him throw it up.
Okay, amazing. So you call for Bleep, you rush around, and he just yells, "Wait!" And you just start like Heimliching him, and between metal pulls against his chest, he just says, "It was a laxative."
Stop
and
squeezing
I'm kind of
I was
still
gonna say,
holding
he's gonna
him.
have to roll a con save if you squeeze anymore.
It hasn't taken effect yet.
I'm still holding him, but not tightly. So, what? Wait. So you're
Bleep
not
bursts through the door. Nev kicks it in. Nev is helpfully holding 2 rolls of bandages, just one in each troll fist. Just "We got you, Doc." And Bleep has a textbook under one arm, a textbook open, and is just "What's the problem?"
wait. So you didn't just drink something that's gonna kill. You didn't drink. You
and
didn't.
Bleep immediately flies to the cabinet and says, "Yeah, no, I think you're good. Doc, were you just..." He says, "Yes, this one was proving a rather bleak point." And they say, oh. And Bleep gives you a knowing look of and just kind of pats you on the shoulder and flies out. And Nev just hands the doctor a bandage and hands you a bandage and then just backs out of the room, pulling the door up from the ground and clicking it back in. And Doc Malvern just kind of gestures to your seat, holding his chest and sits back down and says, "Yes, this one did in fact only take something to help my digestive system, but the point stands. You had to make an important choice about what you believed to be the greater good or the well-being of one person suffering. For the record, this one does suffer terribly, but your indecision led to dire consequences, Princess, and it will."
Though I do not see how this relates at all. This does nope. This is no.
And then he looks you dead in the eye ish, in the visor to your metal face behind it. And he says, "Then it would seem that this one does not have any knowledge to share."
Wait, are you gonna do this again? Are you gonna be "I don't have any knowledge to share, so I guess if you're not gonna listen to me, I guess I'll just off myself again"? Is that what you and she sits back down, literally sits in the chair and puts her metal head in her metal hands.
There's a moment where the doctor kind of looks at you, looks around at his office that he kind of thought you would leave, and then just picks up his mug and leaves, closing the door behind him. Meanwhile, a night passes, both for Gwendolyn and for the party. You are in the habitat set up by the Dwarven Expeditionary Force from Fortress Martigraut. under the careful eye of Cakestand Kelly, alongside Sylvia Tome, the science gnome, and her STARS team. As you'll recall, you all tucked in for the night rather comfortably, and actually managed to get some rest, which is admittedly somewhat rare for the three of you, at least these days. Unfortunately, as is often the way with a good rest, it is far too brief and is interrupted by a gunshot. Duncan, I need a dexterity save from you, please. At disadvantage because you're asleep. I know you're always vigilant, but not that vigilant.
Yeah. No, that's totally reasonable. 16.
Disadvantage? God damn, that's all right.
Yeah.
I rolled a 10 and an 11.
You Han Solo in special edition Star Wars dodge your head slightly as blunderbuss shot cracks the back of the habitat behind you, just missing your head. You awake to a howling wind, and as the three of you open your eyes, you see a Martigraut dwarf wearing the mask, blunderbuss up, aiming down at you. What do you do?
Duncan shoots the shooter. I think he doesn't even think. It's just whoever's aiming at him gets...
Go ahead and roll your attack.
Yeah, all right. The first one is an 8, and the second one is a 15.
Okay. The 15 will hit.
Okay. Then the damage from that will be 10. It'll be 8 piercing damage.
Okay. The bullet hits the shooter in the chest. He lets out like a and kind of stumbles to the side and falls over. Beyond him, you can see that the side of the habitat has been ripped away. The concrete is crumbled and broken. And outside, you can see a wall of swirling, flaming wind that is sort of whipping around, occasionally tossing free elemental creatures. The DEF is opening fire on them. And Duncan, as you kind of quickly scan, you can actually see wisps of gray, almost cloud. Sort of slowly dissipating around you. Can you roll an insight check?
Yeah. That is a 14.
14. Looking quickly over your shoulder where the shot hit, and at the elemental wisps coming off of the winds, you realize the shooter was targeting a creature rather than you.
Damn it. And then I think he'll reach down and just shake Makka and be like, I need you to heal him right now. Shove him towards the guy.
Yeah, Makka, you see Ed with a bullet hole in his chest, kind of choking on blood. The eyes of his mask are reddened. What do you do?
God.
I cast Cure Wounds. No time for the more practical approach. We need that unnatural, expeditious healing.
Gotcha. All right. How much do you heal for?
I'll cast it at first level just to kind of stabilize him. And so I believe that's 1d8. Let me just double check.
Yeah, it might be 1d8 plus spellcaster.
1d8 plus spellcaster. Yeah. Which is pretty good. So let's see. Yeah, 15 hit points back to him.
Oh, wow. All right.
Yeah.
Nice.
So he gets up and like just pulls the mask off because he coughed up enough blood into the eyes that you couldn't see. His beard is streaked with gore that he's coughed up, and he just like looks up and like checks his chest, and then like reaches for his gun while holding a hand up in very much that like reaching for your belt while trying to keep people away, being like, "Not you, wisps."
Got it. Sorry, friend. Didn't mean for that. That's why we made sure to bring you
Totally
back.
understand, man.
Kill the wisps, right?
Yeah. And he's just like, as he's trying to get his breath, he's like with one hand just jamming bullets into the gun. Go ahead and roll initiative, please.
Womp womp.
That good, huh?
Oh yeah, 4 for Makka.
Oh boy.
Nat 20 for Ita.
Nice.
Continuing
21
your streak
for
on this arc of just infinite nat 20s. So
Well,
we got-
infinite nat 20s with like a whole bunch of like shit rolls in between. If that's what you want to call infinite nat 20s.
Is your
Honestly-
initiative modifier +0?
Huh?
Is your initiative modifier +0?
It's +2.
So you actually, I
22.
believe, rolled a 22 for
You
initiative.
did. You did indeed.
But I thought nat 20 goes first.
It doesn't
Regardless.
have to. In this case, it will.
Oh,
But,
okay.
21 for Dunk.
Yeah, I got you, man. Thank you.
The Dunkler.
We already dealt with the Dougler in a previous arc, as you'll recall. And let's roll for the Mardi Gras folk. All right. So top of the round is Ita with your nat 20.
Mhm.
Looking up, it's you heard about the batteries, but you wouldn't. No, I mean you probably would have heard about the turbines as well. That seems like something that would have come up in conversation, particularly if they were doing as they kind of were like a weird like brain flex competition where they're just like, look at this cool shit I
Yeah.
made. So as you look up, you can see that you seem to almost the habitat appears to be the eye of a hurricane, essentially. Outside, the storm has coalesced into a massive funnel. There's fire streaking through it. It's not like pure fire, but what you would, I think, be pretty quick to assume would be like if any of the battery stations or the towers blew up, that's probably what's in. Like the tornado isn't on fire, but there's flaming shit in it. You see
Yeah.
one of the mountain ground floats like fly by as it disintegrates. There's a bunch of dead DEF forces around.
Oh
So
boy.
that's redundant. There's a bunch of DEF people around. The rest are scrambling and firing. There are 3 wisps inside the habitat that are finishing off. They've just sliced a couple of dwarves in half. What do you do?
I think I will target. Is there anyone that like is going after a dwarf, literally like about to strike? Because I will.
Sure. We'll say there are 2 that are unengaged and starting to turn towards you. There's one that's leaning over Vance, the dice playing dwarf from the night before.
Yeah, I think I will I will turn to that one. I will cast a droid analysis, to just analyze its patterns and how it's moving. And I think I will cast Confounding Theorem on it.
Okay. As is always the way with your powers, talk me through what all those do.
Yeah, so Confounding Theorem, this is where I basically just like assault their quote unquote mind with a potent word. So I think this is a wisp. This is like another. Is this electrical based?
No,
thing?
these
Can you
are
remind me what this is?
These are wind based. They're
Wind-based.
air elemental creatures.
Okay.
I will say they look similar enough to the lightning creatures, just made of wispy wind rather than concentrated electricity.
Okay. In that case, I think I just yell the word. I just yell vacuum to it.
Right.
Where there is no wind.
Okay.
And they don't have to understand what it means. It's just
Right.
This is Ida's way.
And I'm sorry, one more time. I was checking a stat. They
Make
get
an intelligence saving throw.
save. Okay, great. That I can do.
DC.
Is it more than 16?
Hang on. I always forget what this is. It is. Oh, fucking hell. No, it's DC 14.
14. I have -3. So you're actually fine.
Yay.
Yes, I lose by 1.
Okay, good.
Boo! Sorry, I had the wrong stat block up and I was like, haha, +0, I win. No, -3.
Okay, in that case, it'll take 10 psychic damage.
Great. Awesome.
And that's it, baby.
Honestly, it's a good hit to start things off. Great. That brings us to Duncan. You watch Ita yell vacuum at one of these things, and it kind of it raises an arm up and then kind of stops. Its whole body kind of shifts and shuffles, and there's kind of a puff of sort of cloudy vapor off it as the effects of her magic take hold. I've just labeled these A, B, and C for ease of my brain. A is the one that has just been attacked. B and C are turning toward you.
Okay.
A is continuing to look down at Vance.
Yeah. I have a weird rules question. I think because we're joining a combat that's already in place, this doesn't count. But I've got my ready to fight, which means I have advantage against creatures that haven't taken a turn in combat yet. I'm assuming this counts as the combat's been running and we're joining, right?
It does. I think in this case, I would allow it only because they aren't paying attention to you. So in a weird way,
Great.
Think of this almost as like, I'll give it to you as like almost an ambush, I think is kind of how I would take this.
And then if they're surprised, I get automatic crits on hits, but I don't think we're counting this as surprise.
They're definitely not surprised, but
the first round of our combat, because we're tagging it. That makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, he's gonna go after A because he likes Vance, and he honestly, fighting elementals is more about saving people than it is about like some ephemeral war on elementals. I think from the vague reading he'd done about the world, it would just be like, oh, they are spirits or whatever the equivalent is of their element. There's not an innate evil there. They're just dangerous.
Right.
So he'll swing forwards, kind of roll up and dash, and then it's just swooping the cape almost through the center of it as a distraction. He doesn't have to swirl around. He can literally go at the elemental with it, and then striking with his bone rapier, because he does not have time to reload his gun. So the first strike is an 19.
Yep.
And the second is a 18.
Yes.
Great. And the damage for them is... The first strike does 11 piercing damage with the magical edge of the bone sword.
Add 6 because they're the target of my adroit analysis.
Great.
Which is essentially me being like giving you a word of like
what advice do you give?
He just yells an upward swipe. This is literally just like
I think, yeah,
very simple.
Yeah, his first strike will go for the neck, because that's already what he's doing in his traditional slash, and then he switches to a two-handed grip for his second one and goes up through the middle. We'll just give out the math for all the damage. The second strike, am I adding 6 on the second one as well, Laura, or do you re-roll again?
I have to re-roll.
Then re-roll on that one, please.
That's a 10.
So 19 damage for the second strike, 17 damage for the first strike, for a total of 36 damage from the rapier.
How do you end this wisp?
I think it's the first one is the slash through. The cape sweeps through the middle, and then it's almost the bottom hand at the top of the blade in his gloved hand, and the other on the rip, and then it's just up and through, splitting it straight in half down the middle.
Right. There's that moment of it just kind of separating and drifting, and then it opens its mouth to scream. No sound comes out other than the wailing of the wind. And as its mouth opens to scream, the back of the head just keeps kind of rolling, and it just dissipates into kind of rolling vapors.
And then if we're looking at the movie thing, Duncan turns to face the other two with his cape over his shoulder and his rapier extended. He just offers Vance a hand without looking at him and just says, "No time for resting now, Vance. This is the real game."
And he grabs your wrist and he's like, "Glad your sword isn't as broken as your dice." And he gets up and pulls out a blunderbuss in hand, which brings us to the wind. So there are two of them. They were going to charge Ita and Makka, but because you two are now staying there, they're going to go after the two of you. So one on you, Duncan, and one on Vance. What's your AC right now?
AC is 17.
All right, so that's one. That is 2 hits.
Okay.
For sec. What are we dealing with here?
Doing one at a time so we can make sure my reactions make sense.
Yeah, all right. All right, so that's what's that? That's 9 off the first.
Okay, yeah, I'll let that go through. So he takes that hit.
And that is 7 off the second.
Well, bad luck. He'll react to that one to cut that damage in half, just with uncanny dodge.
Sure. And then on Vance, 2 attacks. One misses, 1 hits. Oh, actually, no, sorry, 2 hits. I lied. Yikes. All right, so let me just get Vance's HP going here. Not the best for old Vance. All right, so the one kind of attacks at you. You take the first hit. You kind of dodge away at the second one. You see Vance kind of like stand up and raise his gun, and it seems to just like fly directly into his face. And you see it kind of go like up his nose into his mouth, and he starts sort of coughing and spluttering as he like bats at it with his hand and like basically just like cocks it with the grip of his pistol. But you can see that he's choking and rather badly injured by those attacks. With the 2 air elementals, or the wisps rather, kind of assaulting the two of you. Also, the gas masks now suddenly make infinitely more sense. We get to the dwarves, because Makka rolled real low.
Makka was also healing, focused on making sure he comes back to normal.
So we've got Vance and Ed active in the room. They're both... Vance is going to try and shoot the one that's like in his throat. Unfortunately, has to shoot at disadvantage, so he misses. Ed is also going to try and shoot that one because he sees his friend is in trouble, but also at disadvantage because he's shooting into combat. But he will hit, remarkably enough. So he does a little bit of damage. Not a bunch, but a little bit. Better than nothing damage to, we'll say that is C. So B is on you, Ryan.
Okay.
Makka, you finished healing. Ed, he's giving you the wave for like, go, fight, as he snaps off his shot. What do you do?
Yeah. So I want to get a clearer idea of the situation right now. There's been a breach in the shelter.
Yes.
And outside is like a raging hurricane, tornado kind of thing. Elementals are coming in through this breach.
That's correct.
How large is this?
Unfortunately, pretty large. Like a chunk of wall is missing. You could try and patch it, but I'm kind of thinking if this is like to cut an egg in half and put it on the ground, it's like someone punched in the side of the egg. Like this is a fairly massive rip in the wall. That said, if you did want to try and repair it, you might be able to, but I'd be curious to hear what your plan there is.
I'm just trying to figure out what the win condition is for are we just fighting elementals for the rest of our lives while there's a breach in this wall kind of thing? I'm thinking, do we close it? Do we evacuate while defending the people?
So basically what you can, I'll just give this to you because it's easier than trying to make you guess at it. Clearly the turbines failed at some point in the night. And the multiple funnel clouds that were kind of touching down in them have merged into one massive sort of hurricane style thing that has surrounded the habitat. Given what you've seen from the lightning, it is likely that this thing is targeting it, perhaps actively. However, the elementals are occasionally being thrown off of this hurricane. So the good news is it's not like an army of elementals. It's just like wave, wave, wave. It's the ones that have been thrown off in this direction have made their way into attack. You can see others being thrown off into kind of the sky. There are likely ones being thrown off outside of the funnel. But for now, that's kind of what you see. It also isn't like an impenetrable wall of wind. You could probably try and force your way through it. It's just pretty bad right now. So in terms of patching up the habitat, you could attempt to. It would buy you some time. But realistically, with the turbines down, there's not really any hope of this being a safe space ever again.
So it is sort of like an evacuation and sort of like mopping up stray elementals that come in then.
Yeah, pretty much. You could probably think of it as like a mop up and cut a way out kind of deal.
Okay. Then for now, Makka will cast Moonbeam over the breach.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Just create like a Moonbeam wall.
Yeah, just a pillar that if anything else is coming in, it has to take some radiant damage.
Love it.
So he just puts out a hand and with some worry, the symbol of Jossie appears in the sky over the breach and kind of spins and creates a circle, and pink light shoots down, cascades down, and that is the moonbeam right there.
You watch a wisp smash up against it and just dissipate into a mist as the moonbeam rips through it. Makka, you are somewhat relieved to see that though Jossie may be tainted, yet again the abilities you've called for have answered.
Yeah.
Cool. Top of the round, Ita, can you roll me a perception check, please?
I certainly can. That's a big old 11.
11. So you quickly look around the room now that the beam is down. I imagine this would be more a you thing. I feel like Duncan is very much like, I'm going to run in and fight. Makka's covering the breach, so you actually have a second to survey what's going on. In looking around, you can hear like there are DEF folks outside. There is a door they can get back in through. It's not like Makka's like locked them out.
Yeah.
There is a porthole that they can enter through. Quickly glancing around, though, you don't see Sylvia or the stars. They are not in the habitat with you.
Oh. I think Ida's got to run outside, see if she can see them.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
So you take off on a run. I'm not going to take any opportunity attacks or anything because like everything's kind of tied up.
Cool.
You run for the door. You get outside. Outside is absolute chaos. The vehicles have all been like a couple of them are still like tied down, but a lot of them have been destroyed. You see a full, 30-foot windmill just come like whipping past in the storm. You can see the turbines are actively on fire. One of them, not all three of them, but one of them is burning and kind of casting fire into the funnel. Looking around, you see a couple of dead dwarves. but no sign of the stars.
There's literally like no vehicle tracks.
You've just come out of one side. Well,
yeah.
Also, like, unfortunately, the habitat is large enough that they could be on the other side and you just haven't seen them. Yeah. So the question is, how long do you want to be out here rather than in there trying to find them?
Ida's a little torn, but I think she also knows that Makka and Duncan can handle themselves.
Yep.
She doesn't know how Sylvia and her team will do without, their weird electrical
stuff. Power grid.
Yeah, exactly.
The Tesla tent.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So I think she's gonna pick a direction, whatever way is clearest, and start doing a lap.
Okay, cool. So you take off running. It's very much like a Roland Emmerich disaster movie run where there's just like shit smashing into the habitat around you as you run.
She's just a droid and analyzing like the wind and like whatever. The debris flying past.
Sure. Yeah. It's just all vectors and angles for you. Yeah. Great.
Discombobulate.
Great. Duncan. Vance is not having a great time. You are still engaged in combat with yours. What do you do?
Yeah. So Duncan would lash out with like a front kick to give himself, a foot or two of space for his combatant. And it's just like kick out with his left leg and then hop the right over it into a spin, slashing his rapier down across the arm that's jamming itself into Vance's mouth, with a follow-up slash that would decapitate were this elemental and otherwise body. So Gotcha. It's just like kick, spin, slash. He would use a swashing point for this because this is full acrobatic Duncan. So that makes this an assault. So for his first strike, that is... I just got to confirm exactly what it is because it makes all my bonuses get weird. That is an 18 to hit.
Yep.
And the second one is a 14 to hit.
14 will miss, unfortunately.
Too bad. The damage done from the first strike will be a 9. So it's 9 magical damage from the bone sword.
Cool. So a sound hit. It separates the arm, and Vance like coughs out vapor, and clears his throat and just kind of like waves at you as he like snaps open the back of his gun and starts loading shots in. But as you swing back around, your blade travels cleanly through the neck of the elemental, and its head just kind of floats away, and a new one forms.
And then he looks at the two elementals. He says, "Ignore my friend here. If you're going to blow anyone, why don't you blow me?" And then he just keeps fighting away.
You know what? They are nothing if not agreeable. So they are going to both attack you.
Nice.
All right. So that is...
AC 17.
Oof. So that's a 25 and a crit fail. So I'll let you take an attack of opportunity on this one. We'll say this is the one that you just cut the arm off of, since it's slightly more discombobulated than the other.
19 to hit?
Yep, that'll hit.
That is 7 more damage.
All right. Cool. And it will do for you, sir... sorry, one sec. Where are you at? There we go. So that is 11 points of damage.
And he will use a swashing point, which is a reaction to parry it.
Nice.
Which means when I do the math, he ignores 12 points of damage. So that attack is just swept aside.
Yep.
Probably with the cape, realistically, if he's blocking gusts of air coming at him.
Absolutely.
An easier block than the
sword.
You
just disperse the attack with the cape. And then the other one strikes, and it will... You're at 17?
Yeah, 17 is my AC.
Okay, both will hit. Roll these individually for you so you can determine what you want to...
I already used my reaction, so I just take these.
Okay. So that is 12 from the first and 10 from the second.
Alrighty.
The second one seems to like absorb the severed arm and sucks its severed head back in, just kind of like does that like movie monster thing where its CGI jaw opens too wide and then its body just flies out of it at you. And it's just, again, it's hard to breathe. You're like bashing it away, but it's just choking
away. Do these hit with like hammer blows, Tom, or is this more affecting breathing, or how does the damage work? Just so I can picture it.
Yeah, absolutely. It is it's bludgeoning, so it is hammer blows, but it's the choking is just more of an uncomfortable side effect. So it's more for flavor than function.
Yeah, Makka, as you are the one who is in the scene able to see it, Duncan is starting to look significantly beat up. It's like he's losing a boxing match while stabbing away. He's not going to go down yet, but you get the feeling he might only have a round or two left in him if we were using our boxing metaphor.
Okay, gotcha. All right, bring us to the DEF folks. Vance having a moment to kind of catch his breath. He is going to shoot the one that doesn't really want to shoot at you. Okay. Here's what he's going to do. Vance doesn't actually attack. He instead just like steps forward and just kind of nods at you and steps into their space. And then kind of like cracking his head to the side, just fucking breathes in as hard as he can. And starts choking and kind of being battered around by them. But we're going to say that he grants advantage to you by just being a general distraction. Cool. He will take damage from it, unfortunately. But he is still up, just barely. He's hurting real bad. Ed, meanwhile, is still going to take a shot from the ground. He will miss, unfortunately. There's between you and Vance, there's just too much going on. So it's that classic, like, which one's the real one? And his shot goes wide. Bring us to Makka.
Okay. Vance and Duncan are fighting side by side, or?
Yes.
Vance has now sandwiched. So the two, basically, if you think about it this way, two elementals moved in on Duncan. Mm-hmm. So Vance has just stepped into them. So it's kind of like they're both, it's like a little cube of people.
Okay.
Duncan, Vance, Ghost.
Okay. God. All right.
4 pibs of a dice.
It is as engaged as we could possibly be.
Okay. Let me just check on the size of Moonbeam. Then that might be helpful. Moonbeam is 5-foot radius, so 10 feet end to end. And they have the elementals between them, like they're.
It's all like you can think of it as a 4-person fist fight. Yeah, like in a little.
So it's an X through a square. So we're the 4 corners.
Oh, okay. And
so
are you
hit all of us?
I was gonna say, are you two side by side, or are you across from each other?
We're across from each other. No, we're diagonal. So like we are. Okay. If we were looking at a square,
so
we're
the
bottom
worst for any of my spells to be accurate. Okay, great.
Yeah, unfortunately,
I couldn't just graze the side of the square and take out only them. Okay. Fine. Makka will cast Wild Shape. I'll mark that one off on himself, and he's going to transform into a giant boar. He's just going to let out what begins as like a turtle battle cry, but gets contorted and distorted as the spore cloud kind of obscures his transformation into like a large beast. Like he's up a size class. This is a big fucking swamp pig with tusks, and he's going to basically.
You could be a big pig too. Ha!
Yeah. And he's going to run at this.
From a turtle to a portal.
There we go. He's going to run at this sort of exchange basically at an angle to kind of just charge into the wind.
The two
elementals.
wisps.
Yeah. How far away are they?
They're not super far. I'd say probably like 12 feet.
12 feet. Okay.
Or 2 me's away.
I would like to then, if I can, in order to get the right angle, start to run, and then come back in at the appropriate angle.
Yeah. I'll buy that.
Which also allows me to basically work up enough momentum to charge them.
Yep.
So when I hit them with a tusk attack, they take extra damage. So I'm basically going to run into and try to gore these wisps.
Sure.
+5 to hit. 18?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, does he have advantage from us fighting them?
Yeah, I'd give you advantage for that. They're not looking to get out of the way. They're busy trying to murder Duncan.
It's not better. Okay, so Tusk on its own is 2d6, so that's a total of 6 plus 3, so 9, and then for the charge, it's another 2d6.
Wild.
So that's a total of 3. So now we're at 12 damage. Yep. Needs to succeed on a DC 13 strength saving throw or be knocked prone, be knocked down as I basically come lumbering in.
Okay. So the damaged one is blown apart by you as you burst through. I rolled a dex save for Vance, so he just kind of like steps back and like coughs, like he took too long and pulled off a joint. So he just kind of walks back like, as you tear through the first one. You hit the second one, you deal significant damage, but you do not knock it prone.
Okay. Do you want me to do a dex save as well?
No, I'm just rolling for Vance because he was literally standing in them breathing.
Yeah.
So I figure you just lean back. He physically has to step out, but he doesn't.
Okay. So the cool thing about being in beast form is that any spells that you cast previously that require concentration are still active. So Moonbeam is still up. I can't cast new spells as a boar, but I can still manipulate that and
lock those ones in
as needed. Yeah. But I think, Duncan, you don't necessarily have to have seen the transformation to know that a giant boar showing up is likely Makka.
Oh, yeah. He's seen you drop so many animals. I think he's not looking, so he probably assumes you're still there. I don't think he's seen you turn into a huge number of things.
Right.
But you've dropped panthers and squids and giant birds and shit.
The boar, unable to like communicate with like common and stuff like that, but like gestures with its head, climb aboard.
To what? Sorry.
Climb on. Like it just like it's kind of like that. Like
Cool.
You've seen a horse do in movies of just like, hey, get, hey you, with the head going. He might even sort of stoop on his 4 hooves to make it easier.
Just that little.
Yeah, like you're looking up at Pride Rock,
Yeah. Except it's Pumbaa, and he's fucking the size of a truck.
Yeah, if I get one more Lion King in, I get a free sub. Yeah, I love that. Cool. Okay, brings us to Ida. We're going to come back to you since you're outside.
Yeah,
we'll
that's
just
all
deal
good.
with this inside combat. Duncan.
All right. Duncan is never one to turn down an invite from a giant boar. But on the way, he does not want to leave this one last elemental to be able to kill Vance. So he reaches up. He's still in his outdoor gear, but his cloak is on the outside of it. So he actually reaches up and just undoes the clasp on the cloak. And he's on his way past, he's doing full bullfighting style. So he's hitting it with the cape, but his blade is within the cape, sweeping and stabbing. So he does maximum air damage to that, and just like full body sweeps and showy stuff as he closes through. So let's see what happens. The first attack is you roll a 2 sometimes, and you can only add so much, is a 13.
That will not hit.
And the second attack is a 23.
That one will hit.
And that does a total of 11 damage with the bone sword.
Just enough. The wisp dissipates as you whip past. You leap onto Makka's back. Vance and Ed just kind of like wave to you in a "we're kind of fucked up, but thank you" way, and they start running to the wall. And you see them strip off their gloves, and they both start just swirling the sort of shape of the walls. And you've seen this before in Sprongbreck. Using the moonbeam as cover, they start to reshape the wall, and they're pulling it in. Like they're not trying to just like make it the same size, but they are like sealing it off. And you get the sense that it won't take them too long to create at least a workable seal as you make your escape. Where do the two of you go? Out, I assume.
Duncan would look around and realize that Makka is not here, but this is a boar that let him ride it, not just a random animal. So this is clearly Makka. And then he'd realize Ida isn't present, which is weird. And Sylvia Gnome, and there's Sylvia Tome, the science gnome, and her people aren't there. So I think Makka would just say, a bunch of people are missing. We should probably go outside, I guess. To like talk to a boar. He does that weird thing where like he doesn't know if Makka can understand it, so he just talks louder, like that classic American in Europe thing.
The boar snorts in the affirmative and begins to lumber towards the exit.
Great. So you guys rush out of the door. We'll say that you catch up to Ida in a moment. Ita, so you're doing a full lap as Roland Emmerich disaster movie shit explodes around you. And finally, you do see one of the Stars team in their green, unmoving on the ground. And running up, you recognize the unmoving shape of Stabbo.
Oh no!
Who is kind of like laying on his side, a pool of blood under his head.
Oh no! She just like bends down quickly to check if he's alive.
He is not. Can you roll me a medicine or a perception to just kind of see if you can figure out what happened to him?
Yeah. Let's do medicine. That makes more sense. Nat 20.
Wow.
You quickly look at him. He's not moving. He's very clearly dead. You flip him over, and you can tell from the wound on the back of his head and his forehead that a bullet went in the back and came out the front.
A bullet, you say?
A bullet. At which point, the boar rolls. A boar appears behind you, with Duncan riding it, and the three of you have met back up.
The boar is Makka. What the hell is going on out here?
Stabbo has been shot and killed, and I cannot find the rest of the team.
Well, that's bad, because I don't know who betrayed us then. I'm thinking we gotta help these dwarves get out of here alive. They can't hold this building. We'll have to all make for the observatory together.
Tom?
Yes?
Did any of us see the wisp that Ed was trying to shoot so close to us?
You did not. You saw some wisps of it, but no, you did not see it.
Okay. Duncan did, though,
You
right?
saw bits of it, yeah. But
Yeah.
like, you didn't wake up and see like, ooh, blam. It was just like, he shot it, you woke up, and you saw the dissipating mist, but you didn't know what the fuck it was until you got a good
Okay.
Yeah.
look at it. Did you have a follow-up to that, Tyler, or was that just a knowledge?
Just wanted to know, because starting to form hypotheses.
Gotcha. All right. So you've got Stabbo dead. The winds are roaring. Your plan is to like gather the dwarves and try and make a break for it?
Duncan can't morally leave the dwarves to just die. Clearly, this isn't like a plan where they betrayed us to the elemental. Like the dwarves are getting as fucked as we are. Duncan's, honestly, he'll probably say this.
My running hypothesis is Sylvia Gnome did something with their fucking batteries that she's not supposed to have done, blew it up and ran, and she left us all to fucking die.
Doctor.
Yeah, who's not
Dr.
fucking
Tome.
here right now? Sylvia Tome. Who's the only for these people that really I liked a lot? Stabbo. He's dead, but I feel like he would have not been okay with leaving us. And everyone's in there dying. We don't really have time for this conspiracy. And he's just like, oh, fuck it. And he'll just start trying to steer the boar back towards the building to help the dwarves.
Makka will cooperate, yeah.
Yeah.
Then perhaps I should go after Sylvia. Either way, we need to find her.
Step 1, save dwarves from dying. Step 2, sort out what's going on with the gnome.
So as you yell this against the wind, there's a crackle of static that sort of comes out of your chest of all places, and you hear a crackling voice say, "Hey, yeah, sorry guys, really gonna need you to not do that. Real nice meeting you. Always nice to meet a fan. Sorry it didn't work out this time."
He's going to chuck his fucking vest off.
It's too late. The vest explodes, racking your bodies with electricity as all of the energy that it had stored up is released in a burst, racking your body with many, many volts. All of you, except perhaps the transmogrified boar, who watches in horror as your two friends are racked with lightning. I need con saves, please, from Duncan and Ita.
17.
I'm going to use my point of advantage, and that's not helpful. 7.
7. All right. So, Duncan, you're going to take 8 points of damage and be knocked unconscious. Ita, you're going to take... wow, I rolled much worse for you. I apologize. You're going to take 8 points of damage halved from your successful check. And you are still conscious, but you drop kind of to one knee. And Makka, as a boar, you feel your friend kind of like shudder and fall off of him. You see Ita kind of drop to one knee. And you feel ill. But fine. And you know, people keep saying that it's okay to trust technology, but god damn it, Makka Deathcap, you were right again.
This episode of Curse Code and Crowd Sound was mixed and edited by Laura Hamstra, and the campaign was created by Tom McGee. Our original theme music was composed by Landon Knoblock, and Curse Code and Crowd's logo was created by the brilliant Decapitated Markers. If you want to follow our players or our DM on Twitter, you can reach out to Laura at EL Hamstring, Ryan at the Ryan LaPlante, Tyler at Tyler_Hewitt, Tom McGee at McGeeTD, or you can message our whole company at DumDumDice. So please, join us again for more Curse, Code, and Crown!
Dum Dums and Dice has to give a special thank you to the supreme beings of our Patreon at this time: Christian Menicola, the Half-Blind Prophet, Christopher Little, Sue One, George Dolby, One True Artistry, Orion Birchfield, Lord of Bradovic, Noel Lewis, Scott Garland, Anthony Griffin, Benjamin V, Gavin and Abby McDonald, Cade Peters, Richard Cranium, Anna Zed, Eric Williams, Logan, Fire Unfriendly, Acrix, Cameron Ezel, Grandma Likes D&D, Alan, Austin Nut Powers Fry, Stabby Stranger, and Jill and Noel LaPlante. If you want your name to be added to this list, you can join our Patreon too at patreon.com/dumdumdice. Thanks to them, and a little bit of thanks to you.